The Crab That Played with the Sea by Rudyard Kipling, retold by Kenton Berg. In the beginning, there was a great magician. First, the magician created the world. Secondly, he then created the oceans. Then finally, the magician created all of the animals and beasts that would inhabit the earth. From there, the magician told the elephant to play at being an elephant, which confused the elephant because it didn't exactly know what the heck that meant, but it tried its best. Then he told the beaver to do, whatever a beaver does. So then, one by one, the magician assigned each animal what it was supposed to do. Then, of what I'm guessing was several hundreds of animals later, came a man, who I am also guessing was naked. But, for the sake of our story, he was fully clothed, in at least what was a skin leotard. But also, who accompanied this man was his little girl daughter. The magician examined the man and his daughter, and exclaimed, "Oh, son of Adam, you and your daughter are too smart for these basic plays." To which the man replied, "You know what, magician? You're right. I am too smart and cool for these plays. So, yeah, if you could make all of the animals obey me, that would be super awesome." And the magician was like, "Yeah, bro, I got you." But next in line behind the son of Adam was Pau Amma, the crab. And he overheard the man and the magician speaking. Pau Amma thought to himself that he was an independent crab and didn't need no man to control him, so he went off into the ocean when nobody was looking. Except the man's daughter was looking and saw Pau Amma escape into the ocean. Then, sometime later, the magician had created other large masses on Earth, such as the Himalayan mountains, the Indian desert and the desert of Sahara, the Florida Everglades, and the Malay archipelago, which had islands like Borneo, Celebes, Sumatra, and Java. And you can find all of these places on a world map, or a mobile phone if you're a normal person. Then, the magician went to visit the man on the banks of the Perak River. And then he asked the man if all of the land and all of the animals were obeying him. The man, happy with the obedience, replied yes. And then the magician asked, "Well, what about the sea? Is that obeying you as well?" And the man said, "Absolutely not." The man complained about how the sea would rise up and flood his house, causing extreme damage to the exterior and interior. The man, who was clearly upset, asked the magician if he had caused the sea to act this way. The magician was unsure of why the seas were acting this way, and he knew that he had to get to the bottom of it. So he and the man loaded up in the canoe in search of their problems. The magician stood up and shouted, "Which one of you animals is screwing with the sea?" All of the animals just stared back, confused, as they had all done nothing wrong. So the magician shouted once more to the hunchback on the moon and asked, "Is it you who is messing with the sea?" For which the hunchback replied, "No, it is not me who is playing with the sea. I only fish here, hoping to scoop up the world with my hook." Then, the man's daughter, who was totally in the boat the whole time, piped up, saying that she had seen Pau Amma go into the water earlier. The group then ventured to Pusat Tesek, otherwise known as the Heart of the Sea, which harbored a giant tree and two magical nuts. The magician then reached his whole arm up to his shoulder into the water, feeling around the roots of the tree, trying to find Pau. When he finally found Pau Amma, he asked him what he was doing, to which Pau Amma replied that he was leaving the tree 2 times a day for food. The magician then explained that because Pau Amma was doing this, he was causing all sorts of problems on the surface, like how Raja Abdullah, the king of the crocodiles, kept getting his mouth full of salt water. Or how Raja Moyan Kaban, king of the elephants, kept getting his feet muddy from the excess mud, and especially how the man's house was being destroyed from the flooding. Pau Amma then realized how truly important he was, and exclaimed that he would leave his tree 7 times a day, so that the seas would never rest. So the magician told Pau Amma that if he was not afraid, then he should come to the surface so that they could discuss the matter. Pau Amma, saying that he was not afraid, then decided to go to the surface. With his shell touching from coast to coast, Pau Amma arose from the ocean. Now, looking at Pau Amma, the magician told him to make a magic to show that he was truly important. So Pau'ama shook his crab legs in the air, but all he could do was splash water. The magician laughed, and with a quick snap of his finger, Pau'ama's shell exploded off of his body. Or it just kind of fell off. And the magician was like, "Yeah, you're not so important now, are you, hotshot? So shall I let the man here cut you with his kris? Let Raja Abdullah, king of the crocodiles, bite you? Or even let Raja Moyan Kaban, king of the elephants, pierce you with his tusk?" Pau'ama exclaimed, "Give me back my shell! I am ashamed!" And the magician said, "No, no, no, you're just gonna be a jerk and keep playing with the sea." "But I am so big that I can only hide in Pusat Tasek," Pau'ama said, "and if I try to go anywhere else, all of the animals will kill me. But I cannot leave, for I will starve to death," and then proceeded to start crying, like a big baby. The magician then said, "Now, Pau'amo, I cannot make you play the play that I wished you to play in the beginning, but if you cooperate, I can make every rock, hole, and weed a personal Pusat Tasek for you and all of your family to come for ages." "That is a nice offer," Pau'ama said, "but I do not choose yet." "But wait! There is that man who made me wait in the beginning! If he had not taken up all your time, I would have not run off into the ocean impatient. So what can he offer me?" The man said, "If you choose to be compliant, I will make a magic or something, and make sure that the deep sea and dry land are home to you and your children." Yes, that is quite nice," Pau'ama said. "But wait! There is that little girl! If she had said anything earlier, you would have known that I had escaped and none of this would have happened. So what can she do for me?" And the girl said, "I can give you these scissors which you can use to open nuts, climb trees, and dig holes." And Pau'ama said, "While these gifts are all marvelous, I am still too soft and require my shell back, O great magician." "Okay," the magician said, "but on one condition. For 1 month out of the year, you will lose your shell again, to keep you and your children humble and to remind you that I can make magic." Pau'ama thought long and hard about his choice, and finally decided to say yes, because he's a cool crab, and saw the error in his ways. The magician snapped his fingers, and Pau'ama returned to his normal size. Pau'ama swam to the side of the canoe and was picked up by the little girl and put down on the floor. "Give me the scissors! Give me the scissors!" he shrieked out in a high-pitched voice. And that's just what the little girl did. Pau'ama exclaimed, "Now I can crack nuts, climb trees, and live on land, and breathe fresh air. I never truly realized how important I was." And the magician said, "Yeah, no, you just have a good one now, bud. Knock yourself out with them scissors." And then Pau'ama went off back into the ocean, happy as could be. Happy that their adventure was over, the man piped up and said, "Wow, I'm happy our adventure is over. But the land is so far away, and the tide isn't here to pull us in anymore." Then the wizard was all like, "Wow, you're really lazy. And for that, I'm gonna call you and your children the Malaisies." So the magician stood up in the canoe and hollered at the hunchback on the moon, saying, "Oh, hunchback on the moon, can you please pull the sea into shore, as so that we do not have to row?" And the hunchback on the moon gladly replied with, "Yes, sonny," and threw his line out to the sea and pulled the man and the magician and his little daughter all the way home. Now day in and day out, the fisherman slash hunchback slash creepy guy on the moon pulls the tide in and out with his line. But whatever did happen to Pau'ama? Well, you see, Pau'ama is just living the life, using all of the gifts that the man, the daughter, and the magician had granted him, because he and all of his children were all able to peacefully live in their own Pusat Taseks. But still, every year, for just 1 month, the magician kept his promise, and all of the crabs lose their shells. So it isn't fair to hunt or kill the tiny crabs because of what Pau'amu did so long ago. And also, the baby crabs hate being taken from their home and put into tiny pickle jars. That's why they pinch you with their claws, and it serves you right. The end.